sees another fairly obvious opportunity for a component here. We did it in Reactrobats. How about this thing? One nice thing about putting that into its own component is it would make this line a lot shorter and easier to read. So right now we're saying, okay, for each message in messages, spit out a div. We really want to say, spit out a message. So how about we make a component for that? That's what I did, baby. Cool, I'm glad you're excited about it. Message.js. Again, we'll start with a stateless functional component. So we just import React from React. We make an arrow function, const message equals arrow function. Before I forget, I export default message. And I don't need a render method because the entire component is a function already. So I just return some JSX, and I'm going to put it inside a div with a class of message because I just always do that thing. And what's actually going to be in there? Well, this div, basically. I'll just put username and body in there for right now, like that. So I want to be able to, inside message list, import message from /message. And instead of all of this nonsense, I'll go ahead and rename this this argument to MSG, not monosodium glutamate, but message. And then I can just put a message element there. I renamed that just because that's a lot of message all in one line, and I want to be clear what's what. So we still need a key on this, so I'll put key equals msg.id. And I don't expect this to work quite yet. Let's see what happens. Explode! Message is not defined on line 6 of message.js. So message.js on line 6, I try to put message.username and message.body, but message is not defined. Right? That was a local variable in message list. Let's open this over here. Message list on the left, message on the right. So message is message is MSG here, but that's not available to us inside the message component, is it? So how can I get it in there? Props. If we have data from the outside that we want to use in a component, we use props. So I want to call the prop message. So on my message tag here, I just put message equals, and then whatever value I want. Again, you could do a string with quotes, or you can do any kind of JavaScript variable with curly braces. And what do I want in there? What should I type next? What's the message that I want to pass into message? To the message component? Say, what are you saying, Bill? Well, not just the body, because I need the username too. I need the whole message. So what is the whole message? MSG. Get it? So we loop over messages. Each individual message comes through as MSG. So I put a message component. I need this key thing because it complained otherwise. But I need a prop in there called message. And the current message is called MSG. So there it is. So now there is a prop called message coming into here. But this is not a class. This is a stateless functional component. So I don't have this dot props. Instead, when you're using a stateless functional component. We said that props are kind of like what? If the whole component is a function, then props are basically arguments. And in fact, the props object itself is going to be passed in as an object. And it's going to be there whether we put it in the argument list or not. But if we put it in the argument list, then we can use it. So now we have props. So instead of this.props.message, I can just say props.message.username and props.message.body. And it doesn't explode anymore. And I still have my chat messages here. If I look at the React components, or the React DevTools, you can see your whole structure here. You can also search through this, which is really handy. There's a search bar here. Just start typing the name of a component, like message. There we go. There's two of them, right? So look at one of them, you'll see key equals 2. I see my props, which are read-only, it says. And I have the prop message, which contains this object. So you can always see what props are being passed into a component. So if something isn't working the way you expect, and it seems like, I swear I have a prop called this, but it's not acting like I do. You can always check your dev tools to see if that prop is even making it in there. Or see if you called it something else or mistyped the name or something like that. So here I can see I really do have a prop called message inside the message component. Cool. Add a message component that receives a prop.